Yeah. Yeah, I got my QC Kinetics shirt on because, well, QC Kinetics is saving my left knee, and I'm happy about it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it really
That's
is.
good news. I'm wearing this shirt because it's orange,
Yeah.
and there you are.
Okay. Bowling Green. All
These
right,
are
Ken.
progressive lenses. I can't see out of them.
All right. So now
Yeah.
the Commanders and Jimmy Irsay have settled. There was no tampering. Did you see this?
No.
Oh yeah, the NFL and Jimmy Irsay and everybody said, you're right. There's no tampering. Everything's good. Which leads me to this. Did Jimmy Irsay, you said this, and it was genius. You said, it's low-hanging fruit, Jimmy Irsay coming after Daniel Snyder. And that's what it seems like to me. A little low-hanging fruit here from Irsay.
Yeah, and then you wonder who did what to who to cause this sudden resolution in the deal, and who talked to what about which, and
I'll
and
tell
then
you
we've
what I
got a
think.
happy day.
I think that the deal went through to sell the Redskins, or excuse me, the Commanders. So once the deal went through, Jimmy's like, yeah, I got no more beef with this guy. He's out of here, Daniel Snyder. And so let's all play happy, right? No? Yeah?
That's exactly right. Billionaires are smart people.
Yeah.
Even generational billionaires are smart people, and they know how to leverage their power to achieve a result. There's always a result they're trying to achieve. They don't do things, there's no haphazardness to anything. They don't deal with life like guys like I do. You have an understanding of the way world works.
How's that worked out?
I have none.
Yeah, so long story short, much ado about nothing, but I will say this. It didn't make sense in the first place because people say, well, we reached out to Andrew Luck. Everybody knows the rules are that Andrew Luck has to stay with the Colts for forever until he's unretired. So you reach out to the Colts first and say, would you be willing to trade the rights to Luck if we can talk him into playing? Right. That's what you do. Right. So this whole thing stunk. I didn't buy this.
It's not like there's a free agency issue.
No.
He's under contract with the Colts. If he resumes his career, the Colts have his right. That's completely inviolate. There's no way to move around that. You got to deal with the Colts, so it really never made any sense.
It never made sense. So I get it. It's a story. It's a good story. It involves, Daniel Snyder, who gets you, front page of the newspaper, first story on ESPN, and Irsay, and he's been outspoken. I get all that, but it didn't make sense. It didn't, and it's kind of stupid.
But it gives us hope. Stupid's a key word. Because if billionaires can be stupid, then there's hope for the stupid to become billionaires. You see how that transitive property works?
I don't. You're giving billionaires way too much credit. Like, if somehow, some way, in the next, 10 years, somebody said, okay, Dan, guess what? You were left this, and it's turned out it's $1 billion. I'd be still the same moron.
Maybe worse.
Probably. Oh, God.
There's no consequence when you're a billionaire. You can do anything you want.
I go back, I think I was the biggest moron I ever was when I got divorced, had money in my pocket, and because of being divorced and having money in my pocket and having a job, I moved to the head of the line on a lot of women. I did. And I think no time was I ever a bigger idiot than that freedom that gave me, hey, if I go out drinking, I just take an Uber home, and who cares? I get it. Being a billionaire doesn't all of a sudden mean you're a serious human being. I think it'd be a mess. I do.
A lack of consequence rarely equals responsible behavior.
Yeah.
That's very true.
No, that is true. So anyway, the Colts got that result. All right, I have a thing for you. I got a question. So I did this, and I remember doing it, thinking this is so stupid. And Joe Mazzulla did it last night. Joe Mazzulla took the blame for the Celtics, who, by the way, are paying $30 million to Jason Tatum, $26 million to Jaylen Brown, and $22 million to that freaking clown, Malcolm Brogdon. So Mazzulla comes out and says, I didn't have him ready. I did the same thing when I was interim head coach at Michigan State. That's just stupid. Stupid.
You can't do that.
No.
Ever. Pep Hamilton did it when he was the offensive coordinator here. You knew he was going to get fired. You can't, unless he wants to get fired.
Right.
If he's looking to get gassed, then that's okay. But never admit Always admit the vague, never admit the specific.
Right.
You know, I should have done better. However, you know, and then
Right.
come with all the howevers.
You know what I say now? When people say, "Well, you went 3-4 with Indiana's team," I go, "Yeah, you're right. It was totally my fault. I mean, hell, I made dudes stop smoking weed, and our best player, Eric Gordon, shot 7 of 51 from 3. You're right. It's my fault." Hey, fellas, right down the stairs is where the critters are, right in that area.
Okay.
And then you just call my wife and tell her what you think.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
No.
Right down those, right there, straight ahead. They're in those bushes.
Dan has a critter problem, and people are addressing it as we speak.
I got raccoons. I walk down the stairs. There's a freaking raccoon on the stairs. These are wooden like stairs to a porch or a patio or whatever you call it. And there's a little raccoon, a little baby raccoon, and he didn't move. Now, I don't know about you people, but I'm scared of wild animals. Maybe it's respect more than scared.
Rabies.
Damn right.
Yeah, we heard all that when we were kids.
When I got hit by the hawk, I went to the doctor because I don't want rabies. Remember, they always said they were going to shoot you in the stomach.
Yep,
Yes,
a needle
in the
that
stomach.
big, and it'd go right through you, and it hurts like hell, and you have to have 70 of these
Yeah,
things.
you got to have
No
one every
thanks.
day for the rest of your life.
Yeah, nope.
But so yeah, this little raccoon was either tired, hurt, and it was laying. I have a stairs, and they go down to the lake, and it was set up about 4 stairs, and there's bush right here. So I made noise. It still didn't move, and all I kept thinking was, this thing's going to turn. These teeth are going to be like this. It's going to come at me, and I'm screwed. You know what I mean? So we called critter control. And
here they are.
And here they are. Raccoons are awesome. I feed them by hand. You're an idiot.
Oh, that's crazy.
Alex, you're crazy. I am an American hero. I did pick up a little doe there's a little creek here that was hurt. It was laying there. And Lee's like, you got to do something. So when your wife tells you got to do something, I'm like, crap. So I get a big blanket and I went out there and I picked this thing up. I did, out of our creek. And it had been eaten at by bugs, but it was alive and it was trying to kick. So I knew enough to go like out here, and we called DNR. They came out and thanked us, but I picked it up and I'm like, this is fucking stupid as hell.
I'd have put the house on the market. Like, I'm moving. Oh no, we're infested by deers. I don't want to get kicked in the mouth. We have to leave.
Right. I don't want to get kicked.
Yeah, Julie, you handle it, or we have to move. That's
Guys, she put it on me. Like, I'm sitting there. It was like, I had to go in like I'm scared, like I was fighting Muhammad Ali. My eyes were big. I was trying not to look like a little bitch, tell you the truth, because I didn't want to do it.
we don't do that. Kate.
No.
I'm from Lake County, Illinois. You're from Lake County,
Yes.
Indiana. We do not have deer. We do not have
No.
raccoons. We got none of this crap. I got
Raccoons will
moles.
tear your face off. See
Yes,
what he's
they will.
Yes.
This isn't the Great Outdoors with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd, for God's sake, where they're lovable.
When Siegfried or Roy, one of the two, got mauled by the tigers that they
What's
love
that tell
so
you?
much.
Yeah.
Or was that guy Irwin who got stabbed by the
The stingray got
Yeah.
him right in the heart.
No, respect.
Do not mess with anything you cannot control.
Yes. In
If it
their
can't be
environment.
tamed, get the hell out.
In their environment.
Yeah,
or in your
100%.
environment.
I don't know what I'm doing. I may be
No.
offensive to these animals, and they're gonna come at me. I don't know what I'm doing.
No.
I don't know how to not have human beings be offended by me. I sure as hell don't know how to do it with animals.
My whole life, I did this. Close the door. Like, I'm a little kid. Close the door. Close the door. I remember when, like, Tegan or Laura's friends would be, I'm like, hey, close the door. It's not because of air conditioning. I'm scared to death that some varmint is going to
yeah.
come into my house, like a mouse or a little chipmunk or what. And then what do you
Then
do?
what do you do?
Yeah, then they're
Right.
in your walls.
Right.
And my dad taught me that 100 years ago. Close the door. Close your mouth and close your door. Okay. Well, I didn't learn the first, but I learned the second. Close the damn door. Well, it's all right. We're just going outside. No.
No.
No. Hello. What am I going to do if that raccoon gets in here?
You gotta move. You gotta pack. You call the movers, you call the real estate guy, and all of a sudden you're in an apartment for 3 months looking for a house.
That's so true. But the animals around our house, I will say, they're not invasive, other than the hawk that tried to clip us. They're more scared of you, and I agree with that. But and it's fun to have them around if you want to know the truth. It kind of is. The sounds at night, Kent.
Yeah.
The rapes. Seriously, like I asked my brother-in-law Donnie. I go, Donnie, what's that sound? He goes, oh, that's a rape. That's a goose or somebody getting, because the squeak. It's unbelievable, the sounds out here. Unbelievable. It's great. I like it, but I assume if you know what's actually going on, like once I heard it was a rape, it wasn't. I didn't like.
It's
that.
no longer cute.
No, it wasn't. But that's apparently the wild. The wild. You know what I mean?
We've gone a little far afield.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me bring it back to the Colts briefly. Jonathan Taylor, do you extend him as a running back? I can't remember, like Falk wasn't extended, Edge wasn't extended, Adai wasn't extended. Colts have not extended a running back going back a long, long way. And you can tag him, you can extend him. I know that salary cap math stuff, but what do you do with Jonathan Taylor?
Well, you can. I think you can tag him for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, well, you can. The first year it costs you, it would be 10.3.
Yeah, that's
then the
going
next
rate.
year it's 120% of what he made last year. So you're into the 12 millions, which is still under market.
It's pretty good
for him.
I got, and now you're talking wear and tear on an already injured guy. I got to tell you, I got to think like a businessman here. I can't be doing I can't be doing the Andrew Luck, we owe you because we like you. I can't do it. There hasn't been enough. I mean, his production's great, but there hasn't been enough winning.
Right.
There just hasn't been. So, if he tags and he holds out, and Sean's asking me, you don't have any leverage. Everybody says they're going to hold out when they get tagged. Lamar Jackson just went through it. You're not holding out. 10 million is still 10 million, and it's not an unfair price. You're not lowballing somebody. You're giving him market value based on the market. I mean, which is market value. But that's what you're doing there.
Let me ask you this. Who was the starting running back for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2022? They won the Super Bowl.
No. Pacheco, 6th, 7th round pick.
Yeah, right.
Is there 7 rounds?
I would not.
6?
7.
There's 7th.
I would not have known.
He was
I
from
can't
Rutgers.
remember.
The only reason I knew that was because they said that he ran angry. And like he's hurting the ground when he runs. And they said that in the middle of the year, and he does.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It was a pretty good description, but you're right. Who played in the Super Bowl against them?
Eagles.
Who was their running back? Sanders?
Yeah.
But he wasn't a guy.
No, and they let him go.
Right.
They replaced him.
So
how important was he? It kind of makes me, it pleases me that people on comments will say you have to pay him. It's only fair to pay him. I don't know why people are so invested in the fairness to an athlete who at the minimum is going to make $10.3 million next year. I don't get that.
Fairness, in my humble opinion, doesn't factor in professional sports.
To anything.
Yeah, you're right.
What's fair? I don't know.
We have to look like this. And Clooney gets to look like Clooney.
Yeah.
But I'm with you on that. See, to me, in particular, I am not in professional sports doling out things just because they're fair. And I go back to the Andrew Luck, $24 million, and I didn't have a chance to ask Jimmy Irsay why was that the right thing to do? You already gave him $100 million, whatever you gave him. No, I'm not doing that at all. I am doing what is best for my team. Like Joe Burrow, okay? Joe Burrow has said that he's the next in line, he and Herbert, for the big extension. I don't know, maybe $40 million a year, I don't know, whatever it is. He said he's going to do a team-friendly deal. I understand that from his standpoint because he and his legacy is going to be Super Bowls.
Right.
So you can be terrific, get to Super Bowls, but your legacy is going to be Super Bowl. And Jimmy Irsay is running a business. And his legacy, I guess, is Super Bowls too, but fairness doesn't come in when you're going that way to reward a player for past performance, I don't think.
Right.
Particularly when you're not in jeopardy of losing. And what leverage, hurt, team bad, and under contract, and we can tag you. What leverage ultimately does Taylor have?
None.
Yeah.
You can't. No. I mean, what could happen, which would be fine by me, it'd be almost better, is a team signs him to an offer sheet, and the Colts have the option to either match or get 2 first-round picks from the team that he's going to. I'm in. I take 2 first-round picks for Jonathan Taylor today, tomorrow, and the next day.
Where did the Colts? I don't have this in front of me. I'm asking you if you remember. Where did the Colts get Dominic Rhodes from?
The first time he was an undrafted free agent.
Okay, and he was an MVP of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, this is no longer. Jim Brown died. And in Jim Brown's era, or in our era with Walter Payton or O.J. Simpson or whoever you want as a running back, it was important that you had that guy.
Yeah,
because he was going to run it 36 times, every week. Now, that's why I still can't believe that the Colts, either Nyheim Hines could not play or didn't have instincts or something was there. But I cannot believe the Colts misused that guy like they did and just got rid of him. I mean, he was a speed demon that could play in the backfield, ran up the middle, and could catch a pass. I don't get it.
I didn't get it either. And I didn't get it because they kept talking about him like they were going to use him the way we thought he should be used, and he never was.
That's made no sense. That's the most interesting thing for me to Steichen. The most interesting thing for me is our weapons utilized. I just saw something on here, and you guys are showing up again, and I appreciate all of you on our YouTube chat. You just said something about 4 touchdowns from your receiver, number 1, Pittman. It's unacceptable. Yes, it is unacceptable.
Right.
Okay, so let's see. New quarterback, is that good or bad? Don't know. Let's see how this new regime uses weapons. And weapons, I think, aren't defined as Mo Alley Cox. Weapons are defined as a game-breaking tight end, a wide receiver that can go get down the field and can catch and make plays after the catch, and a guy like Taylor who's got speed out of the backfield.
They keep drafting guys, and I hope Josh Downs doesn't fit into this, who have some of the measurables. Like Alec Pierce is kind of like that.
Yeah.
Okay, he's tall, he's got big hands, he's long, he's this, he's that. And then they get him on the field and he can't play. Go get somebody who can play. Stop signing a guy who is a basketball player to come play football when he can't play football. You're not going to get Antonio Gates every time you play that game.
You know how many guys since Antonio Gates have tried out for NFL team? I mean, the list, it's so long. And Pollard was good. I think Marcus Pollard was fine. And Mo Alley Cox is fine, but he's not a weapon. I'm really anxious to see, and I hope it's great, because I hope the Colts are 17-0. I do, and I'll probably pick them to be 17-0 because that's what I do every year. But the truth of the matter, you got to use these guys.
Yeah.
Damn.
And that's what I think Reich didn't do. Reich I never thought he was situational. I thought he was analytic.
Yeah.
And analytics, that's not how you work football to me. This isn't Moneyball. I watched that over the weekend. It's still a great movie.
Yeah. It makes sense.
You can aggregate skill sets in baseball and make the numbers work. You cannot do it in football because all positions are interrelated. Your quarterback is dependent upon the wide receivers. The wide receivers dependent upon the quarterback. Everybody's dependent upon the offensive line, including the running back. I mean, they're all weaved into this tapestry, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
All right, I got this. I want to change the subject, but not.
Yeah.
Jim Irsay. I got this the other day from an NFL insider. Again, there's only a few that I absolutely trust, okay? I mean, I absolutely trust this guy. So Jimmy Irsay puts out his top 5. Okay, his top 5 NFL players.
Yeah.
You know who's not in it?
Who?
Peyton Manning.
Of all time?
All time.
Because of Jim Brown dying?
Yes, Jim Brown died. My top 5. Jim Brown, Tom Brady, John Elway, Deacon Jones, Reggie White. An NFL guy that I trust says, Dan, this is 100% about number 18 winning just one Super Bowl in Indy, and owner passive-aggressively rubbing his face in it. Petulance personified.
It's exactly it.
Of course it is.
It's really funny.
Mark Boyle, who, fine, nonsense. Nonsense. Okay, nonsense. No, that's exactly it.
There's always a reason.
Of course there is.
Why
Of
else would he do
course.
it? What he didn't?
But Peyton's in
Wait
the
a
top
minute.
10.
Yeah, but-
Deacon Jones?
Do you know, Dick Schaap said that Jim Brown was the best lacrosse player
Yeah.
of all time.
So,
Period.
you know, and I wear this out about Lee being at Syracuse.
Yeah.
And I loved, for whatever the reason, Floyd Little was a guy I really liked. And I didn't know him, but I knew him. I got to meet him there. He was an ambassador.
Really?
Yeah, and he passed away. So I asked him, I go, all right. I go, you know how this goes. We were having a beer. At the 40, what number was Jim Brown? 42? Well, whatever the number is. At Syracuse, it's a revered number.
Yeah.
You got to earn, they retired it, but like Floyd Little, Jim Brown wore it, they pass it down. And they called the club in the Carrier Dome, whatever number it is, 42 club, 20, whatever club. I asked him, I go, all right, you know how this goes, Floyd. Everybody says that if they're an NFL player, they were really a better basketball player. If they're a basketball player,
right.
I go, okay, Jim Brown. And he goes, Dan, he goes, Gary, come here. He brings over a guy named Gary Gait, who's considered the Michael Jordan of lacrosse. Michael Jordan, Gary Gait is a legendary player of the year lacrosse guy, about our age. And they both said, Dan, best lacrosse player in the history of lacrosse. Like, this is not,
Really?
yes.
Not even disputed.
In the history of lacrosse, nobody's ever played lacrosse against the competition he played against better than what Jim Brown played.
How about that? That even at his level, playing football, he still didn't specialize.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Average
I'm gonna
15
go
in
play
basketball.
something. Let's go. Let's go play something. Let's go compete at something. I love that.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And here's the thing I would argue. Everybody in their era, I think maybe I already said this, my brain goes, but everybody in our era will debate who's the best running back. Walter Payton, I think, is the best football player I've ever seen.
I do too.
Other people may say somebody else. When you talk to anybody that played, coached, whatever, in Jim Brown's era, there is no debating it. Jim Brown was by far the best football player they all ever saw in their lives.
Is that right?
Every single guy.
Well, he was. You look at the numbers over 9 years, the number of first team All Pro, rushing right 12,000. What was it? 312, something like that.
Yeah.
Just the numbers were staggering.
Yeah, and he quit early. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he quit, and
He was a badass of a human being. Like, he believed what he believed. He told you what he believed. Whether you agreed with it or not was not of any interest to him.
No.
He believed what he believed, and that was that. And I like guys like that.
I had a problem with all the women's stuff. Like, that gets glossed over. But I said this earlier on my morning show. I'm like, I didn't pay that much attention.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't. He was before my time. Everybody said how great he was. Walter Payton was my guy. Now, if Walter Payton would have had a problem with women, I'd be like, oh, that's you get him out of there. I mean, I paid attention. I paid attention to Jim Brown. I didn't even pay attention to Jim Brown as an actor.
We were 2 when he retired.
Right. Did you pay attention to him as an actor?
Some of his movies were really cool.
What was the Army one?
Dirty Dozen?
Yeah, Dirty Dozen.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. Yeah, but I didn't pay attention to Jim Brown. But every guy, I'm telling you, I remember Bob Skronsky, whose grandson, Peter Skronsky, just became the first pick of the Titans from Northwestern. And Bob went to Indiana, was a big Indiana basketball fan. We went to dinner with him every year. He played with the Packers with Fuzzy Thurston. He was a starting lineman captain for Vince Lombardi. And I remember him talking about Jim Brown and everybody else.
Really?
This is 100 years ago. He was like, that's the first time I started looking into Jim Brown.
Let me ask you this, because you brought up Skronsky.
Yeah.
With a lineage to Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana, kind of an Indiana guy, all right? But he's a Chicago guy. Why can't Indiana, I looked today at on Rivals, the rankings of Indiana high school football players from 2024. And then I look at Indiana basketball. Why can't Indiana recruit Indiana? What is it about? There's a lot of good football.
You talking about football?
Here. Football or basketball. I think it's a choice in basketball where they're recruiting guys from Jersey and Ohio and Georgia, Florida, Texas, whatever. But in football, you got really good football players, and two of them are going to Ohio State, two are going to Notre Dame, one's going to Colorado. You had the Center Grove quarterback just commit someplace else. What the hell? What are we doing at Indiana? Indiana is not playing good football, and they're either ignoring their home state kids, or the home state kids are ignoring Indiana football, or both.
Ever since, I don't know what year it was, 1995. Do you remember when Nebraska, I think that Phillips guy was the running back, but they beat the living out of Florida in the national championship game? 3 of the starters for Nebraska were from Indiana on defense.
Really?
Yeah, a guy named Tomich, a guy named Williams, and another guy. Tomich was from Lake Central, Williams was from Maryville, another kid was from Indiana, starters. And I remember thinking, man, I bet if you just got, the 3 best players every year in the state of Indiana to go to Indiana, those would be 3 All-American type players. I'm not saying they'd be all, but those would be 3 that could play any. I mean, Ohio State, the Warner kid, from Cathedral, he's in the NFL. He goes to Ohio State. The kid Fry, we went to college with, his dad was a lineman at Indiana. His kid goes to Ohio State and is a captain. I don't get it. I think that Indiana has never been able, you tell me if I'm wrong, they've never been able to elevate their program to where it's any type of destination for anybody. Like Indiana kids, Bloomington kids, it's never been elevated there.
It's not a sexy story, and this is an important thing. It's not a sexy story for a kid at a school to declare for Indiana.
You mean at his high
Indiana.
school?
Right.
Yeah.
He's got to tell his friends where he's going.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Much cooler, and this isn't why it happened, but I know Danny O'Neill, and I know the O'Neill family. Danny's going to go to Colorado to play for Deion Sanders. That's a cool story to tell at his high school. I remember when Marcus Teague, Jeff Teague's little brother, declared for Kentucky, and people were like, why is he going to Kentucky? Because he can tell his friends that he's going to Kentucky. It's a cool destination. You can't, and Danny's trying to recruit kids to go, like 7-on-7 kids that he's teammates with, to go to Colorado. And that's the thing. That's what the kids, you can go to school and tell people you're going to play for Deion. That's an important consideration. It's a stupid consideration, but it's an important consideration.
I couldn't tell enough people when I committed to Indiana.
There you go.
I mean, I'm not, had I gone to Purdue? I always said this. You're right. Like Indiana basketball, people are like, really? Wow, you must have something special to you. Purdue, just as good, if not better, over years, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it is. I mean, people can get mad about it. But Indiana football is like, you go play at Purdue, there's a little bit more there, maybe. Notre Dame, certainly. I remember there was a kid in our neighborhood played at Notre Dame, and we searched his house. Like, we were peeking in his window, like, we could see him. But no, you're right. And Indiana has, God, I always think Indiana high school football is pretty good. And it's well attended, big schools playing big schools. Yeah, that's a great, we know the story of Danny O'Neill's recruitment to Indiana. Indiana either didn't have an interest or was unorganized.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Confused.
Yeah.
You got to have an itinerary that you're willing to give a kid and then tell him where to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be, if you're disorganized in the recruitment, what are you going to be when he commits? Yikes.
Indiana football had a chance couple years ago, and it wasn't only that they won those games during COVID, but the reaction to Allen on national TV. I think Sports Illustrated did one of their covers, the guy you want to play for.
Yeah.
That's the first time. Like, we remember Blake Ezor running all over Indiana, doing a chance to, or Lorenzo White, all these guys. So there was a chance at different times. But from a national perspective, Allen had the momentum, let's put it that way, going. To at least be like, oh man, Indiana. We got that's a good place to go. Didn't you see Sports Illustrated or ESPN?
I don't know what happened.
I don't know
what happened to elevate Indiana, and I don't know what happened because Tywan Mullen kept playing, but he wasn't as good. He went from being a first-team All-American to not.
No, he wasn't.
You had, Micah McFadden was a good defensive player. I don't know what happened at Indiana.
They lost.
Well, and
the minute the quarterback got hurt, once Pennick left, Look how good Penix is.
And Coy Cronk
Yeah.
transferred to Iowa. He's an Indiana guy, and he decided to go play in Iowa. I was like, what are these guys leaving to? What's better over there than is here? That's a problem for me. Because a guy like Coy Cronk should have been around at Indiana for his entire career. I didn't get it.
No, and it's not changing. It's not.
No.
I mean, it's not. It's not changing now. Like, people say no one cares about Indiana basketball. The Heat is on what? Anyway, all right. I got something else for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna bring you to my level of possible trouble. So, Duncan Robinson is playing his brains out. Last night he had 22, and all I heard from national analysts was, well, if Duncan Robinson's getting 22, you must say, if Duncan Robinson's getting to the rim, I know the code words for white boy. I know the code words for, hey, white boy, what are you doing? Why is that okay? What? Duncan, actually, Andrew Dockage, of course, is taking credit because he went down 2 days ago and he put Duncan through a workout, and then Duncan had a big game. So Andrew's like, hey, Dad, you see our workout? I'm like, yeah, you got him right.
The Midas touch.
Oh, God, yeah. But why is that okay? That's not okay. I know the code words for white boy.
I'll tell you, I think more people ought to emulate whatever it is that the Heat have done.
Oh,
go do that.
That was my next question to you.
4 of their top 7 guys minute-wise last night were undrafted free agents. How in the hell does that happen? How did everybody pass on Duncan Robinson? Who was the guy last night who scored all the points?
Gabe Vincent.
Yeah.
Tell me where he went to school.
I have no idea.
The only reason I know is because my son's girlfriend played volleyball there and said Gabe Vincent was a really nice guy. It's UC Santa Barbara.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Where'd Caleb Martin go? He was part of the Sweet 16. He and his brother, when Nevada went to the Sweet 16 before Alford got to
really?
Musselman. Yeah, they were the stars there. Bam Adebayo, we know.
Right.
Who's the other one?
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, Jimmy
we
Butler.
know.
But Duncan's the other one.
Are you surprised that Jimmy Butler has become as good as he is?
Yes. I did his game when Butler and Wes Matthews, I think, were on the same team, and there might have been another. Maybe Dominic James was like the star of that team.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. And I thought Jimmy Butler was good. What I really thought was good was his story, that he was a cowboy, that he was a Bronco buster, that he was a bullfighter, a bull rider. Not a bullfighter, a bull rider. And I thought, this is a great story. This is a tough kid. Then he goes to Chicago. He's pretty good. You kind of assume he's going to morph into the guy that, is a contract, goes different places, averages 12 and 7 everywhere he goes,
Or becomes the best player on a bad team.
Get some points. Yeah, and now all of a sudden he's a superstar, and he is a legit superstar. He's legit.
Do not poke him.
No, Grant Williams.
Hello. What are you doing?
Man, shut up, Grant Williams. Grant Williams is a nice placer. Jimmy Butler's a superstar.
Of Grant Williams, what do you like after the game? Are you like, are you out of your mind?
Have you lost your ever?
Yeah. What do you do?
Smack him. You go, are you so stupid that we can't have you around here anymore? Honest to God. It's like, what was it? What Donnie Walsh always say? He couldn't look at Antonio Davis after that foul. On Grandmama. He had to get rid of him. I can't look at you.
Yeah.
If I'm Brad Stevens, Grant, I can't look at you. You're so stupid. You woke up a guy that can go get 40 with a mouth that gets 3.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
And so now we're going to have the Heat and the Nuggets in the NBA Finals in all likelihood, which, like for basketball junkies, maybe this is fascinating, but for like the Gen Pop, it's going to be a complete head scratcher. Yeah, who, what?
Huh?
Who?
What?
And you could have had the Celtics and the Lakers. For people who say the NBA is rigged, if this winds up being the NBA Finals...
It ain't over.
No.
It ain't over, pal.
But if it is...
I'm putting out more so people come in here, but you could have the Celtics, all right, with the up-and-coming superstar, Jason Tatum, and the Lakers with the face of the league.
Right.
Not just the Lakers.
And the history of the rivalry.
Yes.
And all, there's no way that it would be the Nuggets. And 3-0, if these wind up being sweeps, that's 6 events that the NBA could have taken advantage of if it was rigged. There's no way. There's no chance.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Well, June 1st, let's say the sweep happens tonight.
Yeah.
And then the sweep happens tomorrow night. June 1st is the next playoff game. People are going to move on to other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. I think I've told you this. Every sport except softball, my wife's sport, is rigged according to my wife. So I'm like, really? So every sport except for, I don't know, the one that you're involved. Well, nobody cares about softball. I go, there's betting lines. If there's betting lines, people care enough about softball. But every sport is rigged. But wouldn't you agree, of all the sports, we immediately go to the NBA first as rigged?
Well, and you know what? I was in Chicago in like 89, 90 when people were saying, "Oh, look at the referee assignments with the Bulls and the Pistons." Like all of a sudden, it's the guys who don't call any fouls who are being assigned to that series when the series was on the line, and you're like, okay, they wrote about it in the paper. Because nobody writes this shit in the paper anymore. You never hear that crap.
No. You get it on a blog.
Right.
You get it on a show like ours.
Right.
But you're not getting it in the Sun-Times.
Anybody with a contract with the NBA, nobody's ever going to, like a word of that is never going to escape their lips.
I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think the NBA rig thing is Donaghy. Like you just mentioned it. It's before that. This was before Donaghy. This was, now people do it, I think, with Scott Foster, his record against this or so and so. But no, you're right. You're never going to see the Indy Star do that, or you're never going to see ESPN do that, or TNT. Maybe Barkley.
Credentials, what? Ooh.
Maybe Barkley.
Is he so big? Is his popularity so great that he could say it and not wind up in Siberia?
Yeah. I think that show could say it. I think that show, including Kenny and Bar, they could debate it.
Yeah.
If Shaq wanted to say the opposite. But I think they're big enough that they could do that. I'm not saying you can come out and say, well, that game looked rigged to me.
Ernie would turn gray.
Ernie tried to turn gray the other day when Shaq and Barkley were laughing about something just incredibly stupid. Somebody farted or something. But if you're going to tell me that this series is rigged, like the NBA, let me go to a bigger picture. Why is every great center played in LA?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's rigged. I mean, that's a way of rigging it. Yeah. Getting Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to come over to, from Milwaukee, where nobody gave a rat's, to LA, where they really did at that time give a rat's, still do.
And Wilt coming over from Philadelphia.
Shaq then coming over. I mean, that's Paul Gasol all of a sudden being there. I mean, look, I'm not. That's the way you rig it. I mean, you can't rig it through the players because the players make too much money.
Right.
You're not. I mean,
and you can't get them all.
No.
And somebody's going to rat.
1,000%. Oh, yeah. So the referees. Yeah. Well, Donaghy, when Donaghy said what he said, which was okay. Well, we're not going to call this tonight, and we're not going to do that. That's the bull stuff. Because I'm sorry. To your point about a guy that won't call anything, well, you do that because the Jordan rules would beat the shit out of Michael Jordan.
Right.
And we don't want 1,000 free throws here. We're gonna try to flatten this series.
I do know a guy, and I know him well enough that I trust him. He's on a flight, and the NBA officials are sitting in front of him from a game they ref the Pacers the night before, and the one guy didn't like Tinsley, and so they're watching like their cut-ups. He's like, look where I get him here.
Oh yeah. Oh
so personal animosity is exercised. But not some like, hey, we've got to get the Lakers to beat the Nuggets or the Heat to beat, the Celtics. That I don't think that happens.
I don't think I'm not. I just don't. Like I don't think it happens in baseball. I don't think it happens in football. I'll tell you where. I asked Urban one time. I said, "Can you fix a football game?" He looked at me like I was crazy. Hell yes. I go, "Can referee?" He goes, "Oh, watch where they spot the ball." He goes, a spot is so arbitrary.
Yeah.
He goes, you think there isn't a difference between 3rd and 1 and 3rd and 2, or 3rd and 1.5? Oh, he goes 1,000%. He goes, fans will never understand it. He goes, but you sit there. I remember him telling me this. He goes, if I showed you the coach's tape and we watched every spot, you'd be like, there's no rules.
Yeah.
You know, a guy comes in with his left foot. The John Madden, you say left foot or right foot spot. There's no freaking rules. You just spot where you want.
I've seen and see it a lot where guys have it's going to be third and short, or it had been third and short, and the guy picks up the ball and he looks at the marker and he places it, and it's
And then he
like
goes,
a nose across.
yeah.
Like what? Huh?
Yes.
Like it's down there where the guy went down. What are you looking over
It
here?
shouldn't matter.
For? Yeah, exactly.
It should not matter. It should not matter where the the only thing that should matter is maybe I'm walking in from the sideline in football and you're walking in from the other sideline. You know, who had the better view, who had what.
I'll say this though, because in the radio booth for the NFL, we were almost always right next to the replay booth. Every single play, they're rolling it back and they're grading the spot.
Oh.
So in the NFL, they're grading every single spot. And I'd sit, because I didn't have anything to do. I was the boss. So I looked through the window and I'd watch those guys work. And then after the game, I'm like, what are you guys doing? We're grading the spot. So.
Well, I was wrong.
College could be completely different.
Well, this is 2000 and this is 2000. You know, this is going back when we were living by each other, and it was like, all right. But, you know, the money is too good. Gambling, people say, well, you know, if you get tied into a gambler, that's always a possibility. But if you're making $300 million and you get tied into, you know, Sal, the local bookie, then you're just, you're an idiot. At Toledo, I think I told you this before, we could never figure out why a player named Sammy Vajegas played so bad in the second half. We're playing Toledo. We're down 16 at halftime, getting killed at home. We make this monster comeback. Sammy Vajegas is awful. Fast forward 3 years, Sammy Vajegas and a football player are arrested for fixing games. One of them was our game.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We went back and looked. We're like, But I remember Artie Papella, my assistant, going, I don't know what's going on here, but he's horrible in second halves. So just, you know what?
That's so stupid.
So stupid.
You've got to have some grace in the way you fix a game. I mean, do it a little bit at a time. Don't just tank it all at once.
I remember first half, whap, 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 whap. Whoa, we're getting our ass kicked. Second half, right in front of me, lifts up for a wide open one, puts it in the crotch. You know, like puts it in the flange of the basket. I'm like, I didn't even think about a fix. It's like Jamal Meeks was at Northwestern when the kid from Indy and the other kid from Southern Indiana fixed games at Northwestern. Jamal was with Ricky Birdsong. They had no idea. Then they went back and watched the tape, like Blue Chips.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, like, no shit.
That has to be a miserable feeling.
Oh, your own team?
Yeah.
It was a good feeling. I mean, it was a really good feeling when Vajegas was fixing it and we won.
That's a good thing.
I'm all in. I could give a shit whether, who cares?
Wins are wins.
Does the NFL figure out a way? Let's just say we got 2 sweeps, and so whatever day it is, the 23rd or 24th, you got a whole week. Does the NFL figure out a way between the last, if it is a sweep, the last NBA game and June 1st, which is the first game of the finals, do they figure out a way in between those to get into the news every single day?
Yes.
To make everybody forget about the NBA finals.
They'll try.
Right?
I don't know how you do it.
I don't either, but there'll be a free agent, there'll be something.
Weird video pieces on Max Strus.
Yes.
And how, look at the hard scrabble kid from DePaul. And,
but that's the NBA doing it. How does the NFL sneak in there and take away all the luster in that week?
They're geniuses.
They're geniuses.
The NFL minicamp for the Colts starts tomorrow and runs through Thursday. They've got a media thing on Thursday. They keep kicking the can down the road with the media in a way that is unbelievable. They're a 12-month-a-year media concern, and they play 17 games a year. How's that even possible?
They play 17 games basically from the middle of September until like February.
Yeah,
right. Damn. All right, last thing. Graham Rahal. Oh, what a good dude.
Great guy.
Great guy.
I love him. You know what he did once? And this is how the media works. He was, Steak and Shake was his primary sponsor, and he brought milkshakes for all the media people in the media center. They're in the media person in racing who's going to criticize him because we got a free milkshake.
Yeah.
Good heavens. But yesterday he was great. It was heartbreaking for him. He hugged everybody. He didn't throw his helmet. He didn't go haywire. He was really, really classy. I like Graham Rahal.
He calls me coach, which I really like. He's a big Ohio State fan.
It takes a milkshake with me calling you coach.
He was great when my son was at Ohio State. You know what I was glad to see? And again, I'm not covering it here like I did when I was, at the station, but I'm glad to see some intrigue. Jack Harvey, his teammate bumps him. I don't know. I think 500 needs that. The drivers are so great with the public. NASCAR sucks with the public. The track is so great. Doug Bowles and everybody does such an inviting job. Roger's done a great job getting the thing going. But like anything else, it's what's going to happen on the track.
Yeah.
And I think they set themselves up for a pretty good interest by a decent enough name in Rahal, big name,
right.
Getting bumped and having some intrigue and some coverage, I guess.
The format of the qualifications is really smart. You've got the bump and then you've got the fast six. All the cars are so tightly bunched. Like Rahal was bumped by 6/1000ths of a mile an hour, and then Pelot won the pole by 6/1000ths of a mile an hour, I think. So they're like razor thin margins between these cars. The guys are all great. They're fun to talk to. Rookie lunch is tomorrow, and that's always fun. They're always great. Santino Ferrucci is a great dude. I told you when you did the show, I was like, you got to get this guy on. This guy's a maniac. He was awesome. And now he's driving great for Foyt, which is, it's great to see A.J. Foyt Racing be in a position of relevance again.
Yeah, it is. And look, AJ Foyt's like Kleenex. That's a name. That's not a person. That's bigger than I don't know. To me, I think, and not just for Indy, but I think the race is one of the great things going. The greatest spectacle in sports. It's true. And I hope, and I was glad. I was just, I hated it for Graham. I loved it for Harvey. I loved it for the sport. For the race, and I think anything you can do to get interest, that's what the NFL is. Anything you can do to get interest is pretty good.
It is, and we're not shitting you at all. This is the event of events. If you've never gone to an Indianapolis 500, you have to go to an Indianapolis 500, if only to see 350,000 people on the same property at the same time. It's like 10 times a capacity crowd at Wrigley. And when you watch the first lap, if you're lucky enough to be in the first turn and you see all 11 rows of three come just hauling ass into turn one, you're like, my God.
Right.
It gives you goosebumps. It's a crazy, and then after the first 10 laps, you're like, okay, let's drink some beer for a while. And then you got the last 10 laps. But the first 10 laps are insane as an event. You ever seen anything like it?
No, I one of the reasons my wife likes me is she's like, you got great bucket list things.
Yeah.
And I told her, I go, we're going to the Indy 500. She could care less about any of it. She's not from here. I said, we're going early. We're going to go early. We're going to see all the marching in. We're going to see the Purdue drum, the whatever. And we're staying at least for the first 10 laps.
Yeah.
She's like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
My other bucket list was go to the 16th hole at Waste Management, which we did, and then the Army-Navy game, which I got great bucket list stuff. But I'm telling you, if you've never been, you can't even describe it. You did a good job there. My goosebumps got goosebumps is about the best way.
It's
unbelievable.
Awesome. And the people are so nice. Like, I'm going to go out there this afternoon. I know they're going to run race setup, and it's fun to watch. But it's more to like find the stories, and the people are so welcoming that, why the hell not? What am I going to do this afternoon when I could go over there and do this?
No, I agree. You know what's good about the race? People are welcoming. I was in Arkansas.
Yeah.
So we're at Arkansas this weekend, and man, are Arkansas people nice as long as they're kicking your ass. Like they beat Harvard 11-0. Girl, it's a walk. It was walk-off because 8 runs. It was 7. Yeah, it was 7-zip in the 5th. See, it's a Grand Slam. Game's over because 8 runs in the 5th. And then, all right, they get beat by Oregon. They're not nearly as nice after they got their ass beat by Oregon. One other thing about Arkansas. All right, I'm tired of something, and I want your opinion. So everybody moralizes about the Live Tour. Brooks Koepka won the PGA, the Live Tour celebrated. I had David Faraday on my show this morning, and he's like, look, I don't dance, but I danced yesterday because of the Live Tour. He's on the Live Tour. All right. Well, the Saudis are this, the Saudis are that. Everybody takes the Saudis' money. They're horrible people because they take the Saudis' money. Hey, I'm good. All right. I'm good with that. Fine. If that's what you think, then fine. But here's the deal. So I'm in the middle of campus at the University of Arkansas. They've got this beautiful fountain with this thing going up. It's art. The water's perfect. It's got a walkway, grasses around. It's beautiful. So I don't think I took a picture of it, but I'm looking at the plaque to describe what this fountain is. It's some kind of celebrated all cultures life. And I look at donors. First donor, Sheikh Abdul something, Saudi Arabia.
Really?
Yeah. Second donor, Oman, which is the same as Saudi Arabia, I think. I don't know. And I'm sitting there going, we want to bitch about everything. Saudi, Live Tour, Saudi money. We take Saudi. I'm not smart enough to know where we take Saudi Arabia money. I'm not smart enough to tell you, here are the 20 things. But I know this, in the freaking middle of Arkansas, a beautiful University of Arkansas, funded by the Saudis.
Yeah.
Like, stop with the whole guys.
Moralizing?
Yes. What do you think? Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, there's some places you don't want to go. You know, there's some money you don't want to have taint your organization. You know, if some white supremacist group said, I want to build you a fountain, you'd say no.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the United States and Saudi Arabia have been allies for a long time. We've made a lot of money selling them arms.
Right.
And we've gotten a lot of oil in return from them. Look, there are things wrong with our society. There are things wrong with their society. There's things wrong with everything. If we start to dig beyond the surface of a lot of what goes on, we're not going to like it no matter what kind of clothes they wear, what color they are. It doesn't make any difference.
No.
So the moralizing, I can get way too much of. I don't like Live, not because of the Saudis, but because they ran off for cash. I don't like that, running off for cash, and I don't like Greg Norman. So he's running it. I don't care for him. I don't care for, and you know why? Because he plays slow.
Greg Norman?
He's such a slow. I followed him at the U.S. Open like in '90 when it was at Medina. I was like, mother of God, hit the ball. What are we doing?
I don't mind the cash grab. It's not my thing, but I get it. I mean,
win tournaments.
What did Hunter Dickinson say? Because I left and people are mad at me for NIL. Everybody be excited for a $10,000 raise. I don't know. I don't know about. Here's why I don't like the Live Tour is because, frankly, I like seeing Brooks Koepka. I like seeing Mickelson. I like seeing all those guys compete against each other.
Right.
I mean, and you know, I've gotten to where. All right, I'll ask you. McAfee was talking about this yesterday, and I've gotten to here in the last couple of years where I ain't mad at laying around on a Sunday afternoon watching golf.
Oh, no.
Right?
What am I? No. I remember my dad watching Palmer and Nicklaus and Bert Yancey and Weiskopf. Right. He always took naps. He seemed completely content. I'm in.
I've always felt guilty. I feel guilty about everything, but I felt guilty about, like, even yesterday, we drove 9 hours. We got up at 6 in the morning, and we got home, and I wanted to get home in time to watch. I put all my stuff away. I put all my dirty clothes in a washing machine, turned it on. I made sure that whatever I did outside, I did, because I didn't want anybody mad at me for sitting on my fat ass on a nice day watching golf.
How cool was it to watch Michael Block
get
done what he did? I thought that was awesome.
Yes!
You know, that was, like, these guys, even guys like McIlroy, I mean, they're getting appearance money now and all of that stuff. So, okay, so it's about cash and it's a business. But here's a club pro from California who shows up, goes 70, 70, 70, 71, gets a hole-in-one, goosebumps, and he cries. In the, you know, with that lady.
Amanda.
Yeah.
Who's always smiling.
Yeah.
So I like her.
And she's like, your son, and she did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Your son posted the video, and he said this is the greatest moment of his life. What dad isn't going to win?
Right, and he's sick. And
right. But I thought it was the hole-in-one because he didn't know it. And then I thought the hug between he and McIlroy, where McIlroy, and he was talking to somebody who was working the hole, like Dottie or somebody, who said, I was just talking to Rory. He said, "This is awesome. This is the craziest thing he's ever seen."
Yeah.
That's a beautiful golf moment.
I
I
agree.
loved it. So think of what you would have missed.
Right.
There you go.
Because I kind of walk around outside looking for raccoons. You know what is amazing? No, seriously, think about this. So, okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, Michael Block shows up and he gets a hole-in-one on Thursday. And they're like, "Hey, Club Pro, Michael Block, this is what we have this tournament for, all the Club Pros." And he misses a cut.
Yeah, right.
The exact opposite happens. When everybody in golf is watching, I don't know if you noticed this, but when Block was when he got the hole-in-one,
Right.
and then maybe the next hole even more so, the stands and the ropes were packed. And then they went back and showed an overhead view of Koepka. There wasn't anybody on those ropes when he was on 14. So, and then the ball goes in the hole.
It dunks it.
Tin Cup didn't do that.
Yeah.
Movies wouldn't do that. And these guys get up and down from Stonehenge, and he gets up, and the last roll of the putt goes in to get him in the tournament. And then you're like, Jesus, yes.
People went bonkers. They never heard of Michael Block before last Thursday.
All right, so the question becomes, if you were Michael Block and he accepted the invite to next week's event, would you go?
Oh, hell yes.
Me too.
I'm in. I'm riding this wave as long as it goes.
Somebody said, well, you diminish what you did this week if you don't make the cut next week. I'm like, no.
That is the insanity. And you say this all the time. If you never played, you cannot understand, and you're just sounding like an idiot.
Right.
That's an idiot who never played anything, for sure.
That's exactly right. That's 1,000% right. It's like, stop. You got one opportunity of this in your life. It's a great story. Whether you make the cut or not, you did what you did in the PGA Tour or in the PGA Championship on national TV in the biggest moment. You tore up the freaking cup on 15, I think it was, with a hole-in-one. Shut the hell up about anything else.
He can do whatever he wants.
Damn right.
Yep.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Absolutely. He made $300,000.
I saw it. Yeah. I guarantee he's making a little bit today.
He hits a bucket a week.
Is that what he does?
That's the greatest thing. Yeah, it's like that's what somebody on the broadcast said. He hits a bucket a week. The other guy in the booth wanted to vomit.
Yeah, right.
Like that. What?
Right. In a bucket in the middle of the night in my sleep. I'm night putting with the dean's daughter to get on tour. Isn't it amazing? Golf is amazing. Like I could see. I swear to God, I would bet if somebody were going to say to me, gun to head, does he shoot closer to 80 than 70 in his first round next week or this coming week?
Yeah,
I go at 80.
Yeah, right.
There's no way.
Well, he's having a great time.
Yes.
I remember the first eagle I ever had. And Dad tried to talk me out of it the whole way we were in the car. He's like, "You'll never hit. What are you going for it in 2 for? Blah, 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 blah. And you're never going to make this putt," because that's what dads did back in the day, right? Now they're all supportive.
Right.
Oh, I'll bet you're going to make it, Johnny. All right. And so I make the putt, and I'm almost like quivering. I get on the next tee and just...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you're thinking about the putt.
Right. And this guy is riding the crest of the wave. Right. He's going to get to the first tee. It isn't going to go well. No. He's not used to this.
No, but here's what I would like to see. I think he wore, now Nike's gotten smart. They put the swoosh just on the back.
Yeah, they did that with Brooks.
Yeah, and they did that with him.
Yeah.
He had that shirt on. So here's what I'm anxious to see. Does he look like a NASCAR driver when he like you and I got my QC Kinetics, you got that. Does he all of a sudden have something here, something here, a little something down here, a little up here? I don't know. I hope not, but maybe I hope so.
A bunch of local businesses for Mission Viejo. He's got plastered all over the place.
Yeah. Hey, Michael, don't forget, you eat at Mike's every day, man. We want to put that right across your back.
Like Rocky.
Yeah.
Right? With the meat cut.
Well, good for Michael Block. Hey, I need you to sign up. Go to dandockich.com and sign up for our golf tournament. It's coming up on July 10th. I still need some foursomes. Get a foursome. I'm making it easy. dandockich.com. Now, there's other ways to sign up, all that, but you can just sign up there, and all the money is going to go to our Dockich Cycles for the City every time.
And this endorsement, I'm not saying this because I'm sitting next to him. This is exactly the way a golf outing should be run. The way this is run, it is nothing but fun. Play moves along.
Yes.
It is outstanding. You cannot help but have a great time out at GCI on July 10th.
Yeah, Sean Black is in. El Presidente is in. So there you go. And I'm a little bit of a pimp here. I will tell you this. I QC Kinetics. I know you hear the ad, but I got to tell you, true story. It's changed my freaking life. Honest to God. Lee and I the other day went and played pickleball just for the hell of it. After I'd gotten on elliptical and gone 5 miles, my left knee. They work on my left knee. Kent, I'm telling you. I swear to God. Just give them a call. It's.
Is this just Indianapolis?
Well, this
or
one.
Is this?
This is Indianapolis, 555-559-PAIN and QCkinetics.com. But I got so many guys saying, Dan, I'm sore. And I used to talk about it all the time. Like, I didn't want to get a knee replacement. So like, all right, these QC Kinetics guys saw me limping around Old Oakland and they're like, let's have lunch. Like, all right. And we want you to try it. I go, all right. So I get these shots. I swear to God. And it's like, well, why didn't I do this 10 years ago? Now, hey, look, I don't know whether it works for you. Figure it out, but it's life-changing to me.
I got a guy who's got to get it. He came up this weekend for the wedding. A guy named Jim Masters. His knees are a complete wreck. He walks. He was a good athlete. Played college basketball. Kind of wobbles around, and he needs this.
Kent, this is gross, but I got no muscle here. It's snapped.
Did you tear it?
Yeah, I tore it doing, what was that push-up thing? What the hell was it called? People were doing it. You did a shit ton of push-ups. And I was doing pull-ups. I stood up. The thing came off of the door and smacked me, knocked me out, and it tore my thigh muscle. So my knee's jacked. But QC Kinetics, I swear to God. And so many people go, do you really use it? I go, yeah, I want you. Yeah. Yeah, look at that.
Can you get that reattached?
I don't know.
It's impressive.
I wish I could show it to you.
Bicep.
I know. It used to be here.
Yeah.
And it rolled up.
That's where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could show it to you, but you'd get too excited because that was a lot of leg I just showed. All right.
That was fantastic again.
Share it, like it. What do we got? 100 people on there. 38% of you are liking it. Let's go. Let's get to 100 likes and subscribe. Are we at 2,000?
Smash the like button.
Smash the like button.
And subscribe, for God's sake.
Yeah,
we're over 2,000.
Oh, are we good?
So yeah.
Yeah.
And we thank you for that. Very, very nice of you.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you at some point.
I got to go to graduation this week. My freaking
congratulations on Tegan's graduation.
Tegan's graduating, and summer at least. Like, do you think our summer's ever going to start? We're like driving 10 hours to Princeton, driving 9 hours, but it's been fun. So Harvard does graduation. Kent, it starts on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It ends Thursday. Tom Hanks is speaking. Yeah, how about this? And they tell you graduation's done Thursday. Be out of your dorm and out of your house by 9 o'clock Friday morning.
Really?
Yeah, they don't mess around.
That's pretty wise.
Yes, it is.
As I recall, graduation in Bloomington, it lasted throughout the entire month because our leases ran out on May 31st, and it was a riot every single day.
And you live on campus at Harvard. So Hanks is speaking. You don't walk. Nobody walks. You walk in your own. It's called a house. And you go to Hanks. I guess you got to get there if you want a good seat at 6 o'clock for a 10 o'clock speech. I am not doing that. And then you know what? You go from there to your house. You walk across at the house and have a party. And they're like, hey, everybody's out. Harvard will tell you this, point blank tell you, there's a right way, the wrong way, the Harvard way, and you're going to do it the Harvard way. They don't care if you're the President of the United States. They told me this, we told Obama the same thing we're going to tell you in move-in day. Your way don't matter.
Yeah.
There's a Harvard way, a right way, wrong way, our way, and you got to do it our way. And it's so effective. It's so efficient. So it's great. So we're going to graduate.
Nice. Drive safe.
Tom Hanks, first guy to really get COVID, if you remember.
Yeah, in Australia with his lovely wife, Rita.
Rita Wilson.
He collects typewriters, and he types notes on typewriters, manual typewriters. Does not use a computer.
Very nice.
How about that?
Very nice. Hope he goes quick.
Quick speeches. That's what I told Dr. Mike O'Neill at the wedding. Father of the bride, he's got to give a speech. I was like, hey, I'm telling you, a wedding that we both know the person who is in, The father of the bride spoke for 25 minutes, and there was no sign of him stopping. So Julie and I, we were like, well, we got to go.
You left.
You left. I don't need to hear, like, that was like through birth through year
DNA
13.
on.
My God, stop. So, yeah, Mike did a great job. Mike's speech was awesome. Perfect.
All right.
So, all right.
Hit that like button. We're at 44. We got to get to 100 and 300. 300 and we'll do the show naked next time.